NortheastWeatherNow.com forecaster Greg Leone. This is an update on the impending major nor'easter for southern New England, most of New England, that for that matter. It's about 3:17 on the 6th of February. In fact, it is the anniversary of the Great New England Blizzard of '78, in which most New Englanders remember, and this one could be a little bit similar. So we're gonna talk about that. Current observations right now, you can see pretty pleasant out there actually. Mid to upper 30s throughout most of southern New England. Low 30s back in here, Pennsylvania. Mid 20s up here in upstate New York. And very calm winds, but that will of course change over the next few days, especially Friday during the day. As the day goes on and through Friday night, there's going to be a raging, paralyzing blizzard throughout New England and especially eastern New England. So let's take a look at the current water vapor satellite here. You can see, look at this first piece of energy really starting to amp up here. And here's the second piece. And these are going to phase right off the coast here and give a major snowstorm. Things are, finally coming together. It's been a while since we've had all the ingredients here to come together, and the European model really has shown this the best over the last few days, and very typical of the GFS to come late to the party, but it has come obviously, getting readings in the Pacific are not really possible. So with that, with the data, the suggested data fed into the models, it's much more difficult to project the storms. But now that they're in the U.S. here, both these two pieces of energy much easier to predict. Now that we're within 72 hours from the event, so here we go. Let's look at the models. All right, there's a 12Z NAM. We'll start with that. The NAM was way overdone. NAM is not very good beyond 48 hours, but we're going to look at it anyway, just for fun. So here we are, 1 o'clock. You can see snow breaking out. There's going to be a nice little, actually some snow back here into the Great Lakes region. There's probably going to be several inches back in here um, from this first piece of energy. And you see it, once it phases, it's right off Hatteras here and then comes north by 7 p.m. And you can see heavy snow starting to break out here in New England. And then it really gets going as it ramps up here right over the benchmark. But you can also see on the NAM, incredibly sharp cutoff here. With nothing going on back in New Jersey, New York City. But then northeast, you're getting a raging blizzard in Boston, Worcester, Hartford, Springfield, up through New Hampshire and Portland, Maine. Everywhere here in New England pretty much is getting a raging blizzard. NAM amounts were way overdone. It had something like 70 inches of snow in Boston, which is ridiculous. It's not going to happen. Could it happen theoretically? Theoretically it could, but that's not going to realistically happen. There probably will be some heavy bands that set up, and I'll get into the amounts in just a minute. But for now, I look for the NAM over the next few runs to come back to go to what the GFS and the European model guidance has. Here's 7 a.m. on the GFS 12Z today. You can see just east of Hatteras coming up here, 1 p.m. It's a little quicker than the European, and it gets in and starts going crazy. Now notice there's mixing. There may be a mixing issue here. New York City, coastal Connecticut, down through the Cape and the Islands. There's probably going to be some mixing. At least that's what the GFS is suggesting. And then once the storm turns northeast a little bit, right over the benchmark, winds start screaming back out of the northeast, and you get heavy snow back on the backside, and very heavy snow from Hartford, Springfield on east, and incredibly intense, probably 2 to 4, maybe 3 to 5 inches an hour. Incredibly difficult travel. You can see this is overnight Friday, by the way. You can see the very tight thermal gradient, pressure gradient here, and the very intense winds, probably 30, 40 miles an hour with gusts of 50 or 60. So a very impressive event on the GFS. The European 12Z comes in a little bit later. This is 7 p.m. Starts a little bit later, but later in the day on Friday, and then really ramps up. And interesting on the European here, it kind of stalls out. Here's 7 a.m. and then it's still going. It stalls out. There's 1 p.m. on Saturday, and it's still got incredibly heavy snow back in here. It's something like a 973 bombed out low here. Incredible stuff with a paralyzing storm. These model runs are some of the more impressive ones I've ever seen in my life. So that's saying something, I think. As you can see, it just slows down and crushes eastern New England. And the European, by the way, has shown that for several, like 4 straight runs. Okay, and it's had the storm, a big storm, for like 5 days, and that's why I have lots of confidence in it. GFS has finally come back to the idea of it, or not come back, went to it. It never had it in the beginning. A couple days ago, it had nothing, not one ensemble member had the storm, but of course it came back. Okay, here is the Canadian. Okay, Canadian similar. Canadian had rain a couple days ago. Canadian's not the greatest model, but it's of course come back right over the benchmark. Heavy snow back into New England, as I've been saying. Even the Japanese model has a major, major storm throughout southern New England and most of New England. So, preliminary amounts from the Boston office, National Weather Service in Taunton. 10 to 14, Hartford, Springfield, 14, 18, Boston, Worcester, Providence, and Southeast Mass here. My forecast right now is probably for about 12 to 18 in Hartford and and Springfield, with a little bit more up to 2 feet in Boston and Worcester, Providence. So obviously this is a very major, potentially epic storm here, and the exact amounts will be pinpointed the next, probably tomorrow. We'll see who's exactly in the bullseye, but the best chance for the bullseye is going to be right in here, right in eastern New England. And again, like I said, there could be a sharp cutoff back west of Connecticut, so we'll watch for that. Um, I showed you the water vapor. Here's the two systems coming together, and they will phase. And again, if the northern Mid-Atlantic is the most questionable forecast right now, because if they phase a little bit earlier, that's where you'd get more cold air, deeper trough, more negative tilt, and you get snow back into the big cities, Philadelphia and New York. And I still think New York City is going to go over to heavy snow and see a period and maybe see 3 to 6 inches or something like that. Northeast of the city is going to be where the best snow is. And Boston, I think, is going to get absolutely hammered, probably near the jackpot zone, as I've been saying. So that's it for now. I'll probably have an update maybe tomorrow with this impending storm. I'm very excited. I haven't gotten much sleep, and I probably won't over the next few days, but that's okay. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I am northeastweathernow.com forecaster Greg Leone.